That's going to take us to the one and only Ben, who is first up and foremost. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump into the Discord and I'm going to grab a Ben. Hi there, sir. How are you this evening? Ben, there we go.
Oh, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes, I can. So what you guys, I'm very good. What you guys don't know, and I know a lot of folks have heard me tell the story a lot, but in terms of guys that support the channel, way back in the day, back in the Reddit days when we hadn't even gotten the attention of Fuser and it was just a smaller group of us that came off of Reddit and some of the other stuff for Twitch, Ben, because Mystique didn't speak really good English, was literally transcribing everything that was being said in my streams about those mixes and sending it to Mystique, who's one of our French community members, just so Teak could understand what I was saying and they could Google Translate from top down. Ben has been one of our most heralded and helpful supporters for the very longest time, and I'm just lucky to have the guy around. If you guys didn't see the Dream the Beat with the video montage he put together, I was in absolute pieces for Dream the Beat 6. But Ben, let's hear some more about you. How long have you actually been playing Fuser now?
Yeah, so I started playing Fuser last year, I think around November. It was about one of the first sales on the game that I got into it, and I've basically been hooked ever since. Normally I don't play games very long, but I just recently saw I had over 800 hours in the game already. So yeah, I'm just loving the game really well. And mostly that is just because of the community and all the people we get to meet. You know, it's just a great place to hang out, especially during these times. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun over here.
Now, here's a fun question that I have for you, and I'm going to ask everybody today that I feel like some of the other folks that we've talked about throughout the community have kind of been struggling with. So at the very beginning, when we first started hearing mixes from the Ben, we heard those beautiful, angelic string chords, the big, massive choruses, always coming back to the dance beats. When you're trying different areas of different genres of mixing and stuff, how hard is it for you to take something like those string orchestra stuff? How hard is it to take it out of your crate and put something else in and actually try it? Is it something that you fight with on a constant, or is it pretty easy for you to transition from one genre to the next to kind of get that dancey sound that you're looking for?
Oh no, it's definitely hard because I'm really, as I said maybe earlier, and I'm kind of addicted to strings, but at the same time I'm trying to hold back on the strings. So maybe even tonight you won't hear any custom strings, but yeah, one of the things I like is to challenge me to try different sounds or different styles of music each time. I don't like to repeat myself a lot, you know. I like to explore and enhance my my musical library, so to speak. So it's definitely hard at sometimes, but you know, when you got an idea, sometimes you just work through it, and there will be a moment that it suddenly just clicks, and yeah, that's basically how I roll. I just try to follow my feeling and not to think about it too much in terms of, oh, I need to do this BPMs or, you know, this key. It's just go with the flow. That's the best advice I can give somebody when trying something new.
So what was the thought process after an absolutely insane round one mix that you put together that definitely had some different feelings from a lot of different examples that we put out for the competition? What was the headset going into this one, and do you feel like you really nailed it?
Oh,
he's like, oh shit.
No, there is an interesting story. I just don't want to spoil it too much before we get into it. But basically, what I tried this time is maybe it sounds weird, but I envisioned a story which I think would go with tropical house. In this case, it was a love story, and I basically structured my my mix in the rhythm of how that story would go. You know, as I said, maybe I can talk a little bit more about it after the mix because I don't want to spoil it too much. But yeah, it was more like a mental thing, imagining a feeling or a state of mind that I try to convert into a musical piece, as to speak.
Well, that being said, since he has things that he doesn't want to ruin for us, let's jump into the Ben NL's round 2 mix today for the finals. If you guys aren't following Ben, you clearly live under a rock. He is clearly one of the nicest guys in our community, and I'm very excited to hear this. This is Every Summer Has a Story, so let's jump into it, and then Ben can give us some closing thoughts after we listen to it. Let's check it out. Okay. So, I'm kind of at a loss for words. I knew that round 2 was going to be pretty special for a lot of you guys, and I still think, especially since we started tonight off, instead of listening to Kygo's mixes, we were listening to Thomas Jack. And some of the aspirations and the differences in those two styles are very prevalent, right? Kygo usually goes to a little more clean synthesizers, a little more like produced versions of it, but then there's Tom Jack, who is actually a very, very awesome disc jockey. And I think with Ben's start-stop, the nice clean transitions, keeping the story intact, and keeping everything literally down to the millisecond and each bar for those switches to tell that story, this is literally throwing a bunch of homage to what we normally see for styles-wise at Buru, actually, with a lot of that storytelling stuff that we always give Buru so much credit for. Ben taking that same type of idea, making it more or less his. So tell me the things you couldn't tell me before I listened to that.
Yeah, so this is a typical boy meets girl, girl meets boys story in the summer. And what I mean with that, what I said earlier about composing this mix as a story is that in this story there are two characters, you know, one in the voice of Donald Glover and the other of Whitney Houston. And you know, when the mix starts, you hear those two characters singing back and forth with some pauses between them. And as further as the song goes, the pauses between them singing back and forth are shorter, which symbolizes to me these two characters gravitating towards each other. And then when we get to the halfway point, we get that solo piece with the acoustic guitar. I imagine that as the piece where these two confess each other's feelings to each other and find out there's some mutual love there. And then we get back into the dancey part, and the vocals go back into swing, and there are no more pauses between the vocals. And in the end, I even try to create a little like a duet, you know, when Whitney Houston is singing, you hear some snippets of Donald Glover between them, which makes the story for me like full circle, you know. They started as two separate persons, but during the transition of the song, they come together as one. That is basically the love story that I try to to make in this musical piece, as they say.
That absolutely, as something to start off with, I probably could have been a little smarter about who to start with. However, if we're going to set the tone, I guess this was probably the best way to set the tone for that. And for a lot of you guys that follow Tropical House, especially videos, music videos from Kygo, from a few that are there from Thomas Jack, a lot of these are essentially like opposites kind of attracting and a love story taking place. A lot of it just revolves around like the tropical parts of the world, or at least the attitude is there for the vibe being more summer and being much more light until you get to the romance part of it. So I think Ben did an excellent job with this. I really don't have anything else to say, man. Like literally the timings, the switches, the good mutes, the good transitions into like the acoustic sections to really give and build on what the next part of the track was going to be. Not just within Fuser, this was just artistically put together in the right way. Ben, thank you so much for your time. I hope everybody really enjoyed hearing from the Ben. And again, if you guys are not following Ben in channel, or if you have any questions of Ben, he's very good about explaining some of the stuff that he does, ways that he's getting to the position that he's at. And I highly recommend you guys joining the Discord or just trying to get a hold of Ben if you have questions for some of the things that he does, or maybe the way that he's looking at things. I'm absolutely blessed to have you here, buddy, and congratulations on making it to the second round.
Thank you, man. Glad to have you over here.
Absolutely. I'm gonna throw Ben back into the rest of the pool, and we're gonna get on to our next contestant. Man, how in the hell? Oh, that like damn near broke me. Because like SOS is like that. Like Buru's brought up a lot of videos. Like, I know, a music video, right? You must be this old to even remember a bunch of music videos, but a lot of music videos are literally put together in that frame, which is even more bonkers. Like in that exact frame, and I think Ben captured that just perfectly.